everybody. This is Amanda Thompson with Allied Instructional Services. This video is about using headings when creating accessible documents and navigating by headings when accessing accessible documents with a screen reader. You can also access them visually if you're not using a screen reader. When I teach students about using headings, I talk to them a lot about textbooks to kind of give them that concept of what a heading is. In a textbook, we have the table of contents, which lists out what's in the book. The navigation pane on the left side of this document is kind of like your table of contents for the document. It's going to show you the different headings that you have. I like to talk about how headings are similar to units and chapters and sections in textbooks. So in this practice document that I've got on my screen, I've got a level 1 heading for education, level 2 headings for elementary, middle, and high. I've also got a level 1 heading for adulthood. So we might be talking about life or what we might be learning about in those different level 1 headings. So level 2, elementary, middle, and high. And then I go to level 3 headings, which is more specific information in elementary, more specific in middle. And I haven't gone through and added anything yet for high school. When we're relating that to the information in a textbooks, we might talk about level 1 headings being similar to units. And when you have your units, and within each unit you have chapters. Within each chapter you have different sections, right? So our unit might be education and adulthood. Our different chapters under the education unit might be elementary education, middle education, and high education, high school education. And then in the elementary chapter, we might have units on, or sorry, not units, we have sections on language arts, section on math, section on history, section on science. Usually students, by the time they're using a screen reader and they're using Google Docs, have a pretty good concept of the table of contents in a textbook. So that's one way that you might relate that information to make some connections for the students so that the information is relevant and functional for them and they can retain that content a little bit better. So at this point, we're going to add in a new heading or two to talk about, say, let's do education. Prior to elementary school, students sometimes get formal education in preschool. So I'm going to turn on the speech settings for JAWS, the screen reader that I'm using right now, go to the top of my document and walk you through the process of adding some different headings.
Full speech.
So in case you don't know to turn on or off the speech options, you do caps lock space and then you press an S. So it's a 2-part command, caps lock space and then your S for speech. I'm going to move to the top of my document with the control home.
Top of file. Practice doc.
I'm going to silence JAWS because I don't need it right now to tell me all the information. I know that I want to go down below elementary, so I have a couple different ways that I can do this. When you're using a screen reader or doing anything on the computer, there are dozens of ways to do absolutely every task. And there's not really a right way or a wrong way to do something when you're accomplishing a task, but there are ways that are more seamless, more intuitive, more efficient. And so as long as my student is choosing a way that's efficient and makes sense, I don't mind how they do it. And if they do need some help with efficiency, then I might teach them some alternatives. Whenever I'm teaching new concepts to a student, I always want to teach a couple different ways to complete a task and then allow my student to determine what makes the most sense for that student. So the way that I'm navigating this document might be different from the way my student would navigate, and it might be different from the way that you navigate the document. Either way, as long as we're all completing the tasks that we want in an efficient manner, it's okay. And there's no right or way wrong to do it. Right or wrong way to do it. So for me, I know that I want to write above elementary. So I'm just going to arrow down to elementary, hit enter, and then go back up. JAWS didn't speak.
Enter. New line.
Oh, there we go. JAWS was a little tired. So I went up to the new line by pressing the up arrow. And I want to talk about preschool education. So I'm going to make it a level 2 heading because it's falling under that umbrella of education. So I'm going to hold down Control, Alt, and press 2.
Alt Control 2. Heading 2 style applied.
Once that style is applied, I can type my word.
Preschool.
Okay, preschool. Now within preschool, we learn
New line.
a lot of different things. So I need a couple more headings to kind of give me some some sections inside the preschool chapter of this document, right? So we learn social skills and we learn pre-academic skills, right? So we'll make those level 3 headings falling under the preschool level 2 heading. So Control Alt 3. By the way, in both Microsoft Office documents and in Google Docs, you have the option of having titles, you have normal text, you have headings. You can have a level heading of 1 all the way up to 6. Usually you don't use all heading options. The most of the time I see just up to level 3. Once you get beyond that, you're really getting to very specific information, and it can be pretty cumbersome to have so many headings. But you can go all the way up to 6 if you need to. So education is my level 1, preschool is my level 2. We're going to add in the social skills and pre-academics with level 3 headings.
Alt Control
So
heading 3
social skills.
SIS.
Social skills is my first level. Once I hit enter,
Enter new line.
it goes back to being normal text. So I need to activate that level 3 heading again.
Alt Control O P E
Oops.
P dash E dash A C A D S.
There's my pre-academics. And it doesn't look like I activated the heading. So while I'm still touching that text, I can do it again.
Alt Control 3 heading 3 style applied.
Boom. Got that. Now, say I wanted to think about another heading and I choose potty training. I'm going to go down and add that.
Enter new Alt Control T
And pretend I go through and keep working on my document. I'm adding in specific information as normal text under those headings. And then I go, oh man, maybe potty training isn't really its own section. Maybe it would go kind of under pre-academics, because you kind of have to know how to potty train before you can do some things. So you could, if you just made that error, you can Control Z to undo. But if it's later on down the road and it's been a while, you can't Control Z to undo, and you want to know how to make it normal text again, it's Control Alt 0.
Alt Control 0 normal text style applied.
And then it is normal text. So I could say potty training is
SEC.
necessary before elementary school.
ESSA RSBF period.
No, we know that's not true. I'm just making up stuff as we're going about this document. So from here, say I've got my document done and someone's going to be navigating it. There are several different ways that you can navigate, and I want to talk about the different ways. I hear a lot of adult users talk about how difficult Google Docs is to navigate because they're so used to the way they could do things in Microsoft Word. I also hear students, say college level students who grew up using this sort of stuff, talk about how difficult Google Docs is and they're kind of scared to use it. And I want to empower all of us to know that Google Docs is very accessible as long as you're willing to kind of go through that learning curve of learning new content and learning different ways to do things. So the old school way, and a way that absolutely works, is to turn on navigate your quick settings and navigate by heading in this document. And so what you would do is press caps lock space. You'll hear a sound to indicate that you're doing that 2-part command, and then Q for quick keys. So I'm just going to do that.
Space.
Oops.
Space.
Why isn't my quick keys working?
Space.
Huh.
Space. Q.
Q.
Space. H.
It's not working. Isn't that funny? So I'm going to press F5 to refresh my document. Oh, sorry.
F5.
Nothing is working on my computer. There we go.
Google Docs Google Chrome.
My computer is being tired and slow. So let's try the quick keys again.
Space Q, quick keys.
There we go. So here's a JAWS tip that happened in the moment. Or a Google Docs and JAWS or whatever, if it's not doing what you expect it to do, sometimes just refreshing your page gets you what you want to be able to do. So I just did caps lock space and then a Q. If I was using a desktop, it would be insert space and then a Q. You heard it say quick keys. From here, I can navigate by things like link or by table or by list or by heading. And so headings are the only things that I have in this document. So I can press H to navigate by heading.
Heading 2 heading 3 socials. Heading 3 pre-academics. Heading 2 elementary. Heading level 2 elementary.
So the problem with this is you can only press that H. We cannot press, say, level 3 heading would be a 3. You hear that sound? It took us out of that quick keys mode. So if you are one of those people who is so scared to learn the other techniques, or you haven't learned them yet and you don't know how, and you're only navigating by H, it might take you a really long time to find the information that you want on that page. I want to show you now how to navigate by using the actual Google commands. They're 2-part commands to navigate by headings. And so they're going to use Control and Alt, and then an N for next or a P for previous, and then either H for just heading or the number of the heading. So I'm going to first do Control Alt N for next, and then I'm going to press a 3 for a level 3 heading to just go to the next level 3 heading. So Control Alt N,
Control N, Alt
3.
Control 3, heading 3 language arts.
That is a complicated command that some people really struggle with. So you keep holding down that Control and the Alt. You press and let go of N, and then you press and let go of whatever next you want to do. So if we want to do previous level 3 heading, it's Control Alt, press P for previous, and then 3 for level 3 heading. So Control Alt, P, and then 3.
Control 3, heading 3 pre-academics.
You have to do it in that order or it's not going to work. So we're just going to go, let's just do next level 3. So I'm going to do that a couple times. I'll Control N for next and then 3 for level 3 heading. We'll do it 3 or 4 times.
Alt Control 3, heading 3 language arts.
Next 3.
Control 3, heading 3 math.
Next 3.
Alt Control 3, heading 3 history.
I really like this approach to navigating because we can really get exactly where we want to go. If we know that we only want to be looking at the level 3 headings, say I have tons and tons of content in language arts, math, history, and science, and I want to jump straight to history by heading, I can just let's just do that. Let's just see how long it takes. So let's do Control Home to go to the top of the document.
Top of file, heading level 1 at
I silence JAWS with Control. We're going to Control Alt N for next, 3 for 3 until we can get to math.
Alt Control 3.
That's the first
heading
one.
3 Alt Control 3, heading 3
Pre-academics.
Alt Control 3, heading 3 language arts. Alt Control 3, heading 3 math.
It's not that complicated as long as we are willing to travel that learning curve and get from being uncomfortable with the content and moving towards comfort. True learning really only happens when our brains go through that process of doing something that's uncomfortable and getting practice with it and then becoming comfortable with it. So that's just how you create and navigate by headings inside of Google Docs. Those are just 2 of the many ways that you can navigate by headings. I hope that they're helpful and they help you realize that Google Docs really are not as scary as they might seem.